In this episode, I'm here with Roger Martin, the CEO of RockBox Fitness, a popular fitness studio franchise founded in 2017 that offers challenging, high-intensity interval training classes combining kickboxing, strength training, and cardio exercises. They have a fantastic culture and community, and I actually flew to Charlotte, North Carolina to their HQ to meet with Roger and his entire team. I've known Roger for a few years now, and he's one of the guys that I really respect in the fitness franchise space. He really gets it, and he has a strong emphasis on sales and marketing. But what I really learned about him more and more over the last year is his fantastic understanding of leadership. And we're gonna be talking about not only leadership in this episode, but sales, marketing, and his story of how they've really built RockBox to the awesome franchise that it is today. Enjoy. We are here, another new set for the GSD Show, and I'm here with Roger Martin, CEO of RockBox. What's up, Roger?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad. Well, you haven't been on the show yet, have you?
I have not.
Which is crazy because you've been on stage at GSDCon, I think, at least twice?
A couple times, yeah.
And now you're going to be on our stage in Vegas as well.
I cannot wait.
How have you not been on the show?
That's the question for you.
That's
I don't
my
know.
fault. That's not your fault. That's my fault.
That's okay.
I don't even understand
Yeah.
it. So for everyone listening, everyone watching, I've gotten to know Roger over the years, and he's one of the guys, I've told you this several times, you're one of the guys that I really respect
Thank you.
in the franchise space. In fact, I'm actually starting to interview more and more franchisors that I'm putting up in that box of people that just really know what they're doing, really care about their franchisees, and know how to build successful gyms and fitness studios.
Yeah.
And that's you guys. So really quick, just what's RockBox?
Yeah.
Help everyone understand.
So RockBox is a boxing, kickboxing, functional strength training experience. So it's a fully immersive experience. The lights change color with the music. Of course, the music playlists are on point, and you really get to box, kickbox, and then we want to build strength as well. So you want to burn calories, but you also want to build strength. So we have a full functional strength side of the studio where you'll do battle ropes, kettlebells, dumbbells, really anything that doesn't have a moving part. We don't want any moving parts in our gym because those break down. So it's all of the basic functional fitness movements that you'll do, and it's all in one class.
And you've got some really good franchisors that I've gotten to know. I've gotten actually to get really close. I'm also really close to some of the people at HQ at your level. Like Dan's one of my good friends. I go back to 16, 17 years with Dan Manigan.
Wow.
He's your VP of sales.
He's our VP of operations. Yeah.
VP of ops.
Sales and ops.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the actual numbers. I want you to imagine I'm a franchisee in your business, and I need to be successful. What are some of the numbers that you really want me to pay attention to, knowing that if I'm looking at these numbers and I'm paying attention to them and I'm making adjustments to tweak them, I'm on a good path?
Well, that's a great question. And I don't think we're unique in the industry. I think the industry has some great standards that if you follow, you'll be successful. So we want to look at leads generated, total leads generated, and we have a certain target per month that we want to generate. Some of that's from digital, paid digital. A lot of that is from B2B, community outreach, and the referrals. I learned referrals really from loud rumor.
We harp on it quite a bit.
I've heard that for years, and finally, the teacher appears when the student was ready, and I think I was in Nashville on stage, but in the audience as well, and that clicked for me. So we look at total leads generated, then we want to look at number of leads booked. So that we have a goal of you want to book 65% of all your leads.
Yep.
These are our numbers. 65% of all your leads booked. We want to get at least 50% of those to show. However, we are starting to ask for a credit card now. I think that's just best practice in the industry. I wish everybody in the industry would do that, so it become the norm. And when we notice when we do that, we get closer to 80% show. And people will either cancel or reschedule if they need to, but they'll give us the courtesy of letting us know because they have a credit card on file. But when it all blends out, we look for 65% booked, 50% show, and then we push and we train for 60% close. We're not there yet. The network as a whole is not there yet, but those are the benchmarks that we look for.
Yeah.
And then we look at the mix of the memberships that are sold. We want a certain amount of 70% unlimited, 30% twice a week, or 8. We call them a standing 8 count.
Right.
A little boxing term.
I like it.
And then we look at length of stay. I think anybody that owns a fitness studio wants to know, what is the lifetime value of this customer? Because that allows you to then spend the right amount of money to acquire that customer profitably and service that customer properly. So we look at our overall retention rate or attrition rate, is the flip side of that coin, and we drive that attrition rate as low as possible, and we want to keep that below 8%. Of course, our goal is 6%, but anything above 8 is a red flag. There's probably something going on in the studio that we need to address or work with that franchisee to get that lower, so we can get that length of stay at least a year, if not longer.
Yeah. What's your path here? Like, how did you become the CEO of RockBox? What were you doing before and before that led you here?
I don't know if we have enough time for that on this podcast, but the very abbreviated story is I spent 25 years in the branded pharmaceutical business and pharmaceutical manufacturing. That was my whole career. That's how I put my kids through school, bought our houses and all that stuff. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. It was just an amazing experience, great training, world-class support, working for Fortune 500, Fortune 50 companies. But the punchline is I was in Barcelona, Spain, and a lot of my franchisees have heard this. I was in Barcelona, Spain, wearing my suit and tie and at a trade show and on a full expense account, and I should have been the happiest guy in the world. I should have been the happiest guy in the world, making what I was making, doing what I was doing. And I looked out across this sea of 3,000 people at this convention, and this was 2016, and realized I just have disdain for everybody in this room. And that was about a half a second, and then I realized, no, it's me. It's me. These people are absolutely fine. It's me. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be here. It doesn't matter if I'm in Barcelona or if I'm in New York City.
Why? What made you feel that?
Yeah. I think you do something to a certain level, and I had achieved everything I had set out to achieve in that business. And I had the position that I was a president of a division. I had done everything. I had a very successful exit with a private equity firm with one of the companies. I had done everything I had set out to do, and now I was going through the motions. So I think no one's really ever asked me the question behind the question like you just did. And I have to, if I'm honest with myself, it was that I wasn't fulfilled because I'd already fulfilled my mission for what I wanted to do when I set out when I was 22 years old in that industry. And at that time I was 45, 46 when I had that epiphany. And I believe it's because there wasn't a lot left for me to achieve in that business that I wanted to achieve. There can always go higher. But I had done it, and now I felt like I was on the treadmill, in the gerbil wheel, just kind of the hamster wheel, whatever, just going around and around. Another plane, another airplane, another city, another client meeting. And I didn't want to do that anymore. Just didn't want to do that. And I wasn't, I wasn't passionate about it either. Like, I loved pharma. I loved the science behind it. But then I think I also had the epiphany that we're selling a treatment, but not a cure. Like, we don't want to cure anybody. We just want to treat them, because if you cure them, you've lost the customer, right? Right. And that's what I love about health and fitness is it's forever.
You started at 22 years old.
Yeah.
And you were there till 45.
Yeah. Different companies. 3 different companies, but
within the same industry.
Same industry. Yeah.
How much did that translate into what you were able to use today?
Surprisingly, 90% of it. 90%
really?
of it.
What have you noticed that are the similarities in pharmaceutical sales that you can actually translate and bring into fitness? Like, what were the similarities?
Yeah, to me, sales is sales is sales. And what I've been able to translate and teach to our franchisees and their staff is really no different than what I taught and I had to communicate to managers who had representatives underneath them in this hierarchy. But it's still asking the why, and then the why behind the why. So instead of why are you looking to lose weight, why are you struggling with this current supply chain that you have for XYZ therapeutic categories? They give you an answer. Well, what is your biggest pain point? Why have you not made a change before? What would be your goal if you could wave a magic wand and have a result? What would that look like? What would that do for your career? What would that do for the people in your department, in this hospital department, or in this physician organization, whatever it may be? And it's crazy how similar that is to just sitting down and asking somebody. You walked in the studio today, you replied to an ad, you came in, you're looking for a result. What is that? Let's talk about that. Don't worry about the workout. Don't worry about the equipment or the bags or whatever, whatever studio people happen to represent that are watching this. What are you looking to achieve?
Right.
And that's the real conversation. And I think all of that very, very closely was replicated in this franchise business, in this RockBox Fitness, from 25 years in the pharma business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a really good question around pain that I've noticed you're selling all the time. Whether you're selling something in exchange for money, whether you're selling somebody on an idea, whether you're selling a client to be motivated. Um, the question around pain is, let's say I'm talking to you and I say, hey, so what's something that you're really looking to do? And you say, I'm looking to lose 15, 20 pounds. Okay, why? And they say, why? And then you go, not getting there. Has that been a little bit of a pain to deal with? Is it a little bit of pain in the butt? And be like, yeah, yeah. Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Just want to know on the level of that pain, how where it stands is what's greater, the pain to change or the pain to staying the same?
Yeah.
And usually they'll kind of think about that because you got to pick now.
Yeah.
It's not a open-ended question. It's an option.
Yeah.
And I don't think many people in any capacity want to stay the same.
No. Nope.
And so usually you're going to hear the pain is staying the same. Well, yeah. So if that's the case, are we willing to do the things that create change?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And from there, you can literally say, without even looking at the price yet, welcome to RockBox.
Yeah. Well, welcome to RockBox. Let's get you started in the unlimited. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
What flavor glove do you want? What color?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. So, want to talk a little bit more about on the marketing side. I've learned that you actually are a student of marketing and advertising. I got to learn a lot about that at your talk at GSD Con, and we talked about pricing and the benefit of being the highest price or the lowest price. Yeah, I want to see if you could remember what you talked about on stage. Dig into that a little bit.
Yeah, and this certainly isn't, everything I share, I believe I've stolen and patched together to create.
Everyone has.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't create the pain to change.
Yeah. But it's taking it and trying to improve on that, right? We want to stand on the shoulders of giants, and I just believe that there's no benefit to being the second highest priced, or alternatively the second lowest priced. Like if you're going to compete in a market, either be the highest price because there's innate perceived value by being the highest priced product. There's just, I think the example on stage, I gave her the 3 bottles of wine, and if one's 5, one's 15, and one's 150, what wine is going to taste the best? Of course, everyone says the $150 bottle of wine, even though $2 Chuck and many other things have disproven that.
Right.
We can't help it. We're wired that way, right? Our reptilian brain just makes us think if it's more expensive, if we have to pay more for it, it's worth more. And I don't believe that that's any different for a fitness studio.
Yeah.
Where does Planet Fitness have a competitive advantage? Yep, because they price at the very bottom of the market. And so they're going to get every person that wants to price shop, really maybe not be serious about their fitness. And they may go to the gym, they may not, but it's only $10, so who cares? I don't want to be at $99 or $129 or $130. I want to be at $199 or $209 or $249 because, now that being said, we also then need to stack value, and by stacking value, that's a cliche. But what I mean by that is, what other additional services and value can we bring to the new member? Be it nutrition, be it accountability coaching, include a free challenge that is very structured, that onboards them and takes them through their first 6 weeks, so that they have this 28-day or 6-week program that is finite in nature, so that they can have a starting point, a midpoint, and an end point, and say, wow, when I look back at the starting point, I really have, I've lost 15 pounds. I haven't done that in 30 years. Like, wow. And then we can set some habits. So, but I don't want to drop the price to get that guy or that gal to join, because I've instantly told them, well, we're really not worth $200 a month. We're really worth $169.
Or worse. Well, really, this change for you isn't really worth, right?
Exactly.
Because when I look at selling something like Loud Rumor, even, same thing. If a gym owner or a studio owner is going to consider investing in a Loud Rumor, it's not about are we worth that? The way I look at it is this result worth that for you? Because it doesn't matter what I'm worth.
Yep.
It's what this outcome is worth to you. If it's not worth this money, you shouldn't do it. If you believe you can make more money without us, well, then you should do that. If you believe you can make more money with us, you should do that. And I think the same thing goes here. Hey, look, if you feel like you can get to this goal without us, I think you should do that.
100%.
That's the most important thing.
Yep.
But if you truly believe, like I do, that with us, we can get there together a lot faster, a lot easier, and with less injuries, then I'd like you to make that decision.
Yep.
But what do you really believe? And at that point, I mean, again, how does a person say to a person, I really think I'll get there fast.
Exactly. Sure. Sure.
You
Yeah.
know, so I think it's really good. It's just talking about the value, but when you drop the price down, you just lower the value of their goal as well.
100%.
You know, it's funny when we talk about this too, because a lot of people don't put pricing in the marketing bucket.
Yeah.
You know, novice marketers, novice business owners, they think marketing is paid ads and posting motivational Monday and whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But price, so there's 4 P's of marketing, right? And price is one of them. And just like we saw, like the strategy of being the highest price, and some people say hot, like significantly higher than the highest price is better, right?
Yep.
Because if you're just slightly above, you kind of look the same.
Yep.
Or the lowest, but that's an advantage. Ending in a 9,
Yep.
having a decoy effect pricing. I mean, there's
Yep.
so many things we can do, but a lot of people don't do that. They just go, I think we should charge this. I think people will pick one of those 3. And that's
Well,
just so little thought.
if I can dovetail what you just said, and the psychology of pricing is that usually pricing is done in a logical manner. Business people are usually pretty logical, and they will look at it and say, okay, if my 4-count membership, 4 times a month membership is, I'm making this up, it's $99. Well, then my 8-count should be $149, and then my unlimited should be $199.
Right.
That makes too much sense.
That's exactly the problem.
Yeah, you've confused the prospect so that they don't know what, because it's logical. Now I could pick any one of 3, and it's logically it makes sense. So now I don't know which one to pick, and people really appreciate the help. They may not consciously appreciate, but they subconsciously appreciate it when you make the decision for them.
Right.
Because look, we walk into a grocery store and there's 10,000 items from which to choose. That's just too much for our reptilian brain to use that again, right? And so the same thing when we go to a studio, if everything makes perfect sense, but nothing is the obvious choice, I'm probably not going to make a choice. I'm going to say, can I take a picture of this to take home?
And now I need to think about
And
it.
now I need to think about it, and they're gone, and they're never coming back.
And the reson they're thinking about it is because there's actually something to think about.
Exactly.
So if you don't want them to think about it,
Yep.
then don't give them thoughtful.
Yep.
Because the question now is not about what my goal. The question is like, am I going to work out 2 days a week? Am I going to do 3? Because that's really the thing.
Yep.
But man, like imagine if the option was $99 one time a week, $198 2 times a week, which is logical, right?
Sure.
Twice as many
Yep.
things, twice as much money.
Yep.
$199 for for unlimited.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wait, for only $1 more, and then the sales rep would just go, I know it doesn't make any sense, but like I think that's why everyone picks it. It's like the best deal ever.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And if anyone does have the craziness to go, I think I'm only going to come in 2. You sure? It's only $1 more. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But what is definitely going to happen is because those 2 are so similar, they're not looking at the first one.
Yep.
Because it's not even in the game anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a really good book called Confessions of a Pricing Man. You ever read that one?
I have not. No.
It's a really good book, and this guy is behind the pricing. I can't remember his name now; it's blank. But he's behind the pricing of some of the biggest organizations, and he's just studied.
Yeah.
And he's put a lot of his findings in this book. And then I think you might have read the other one because you use the term logical, where it could be also rational, but predictably irrational by Dan Ariely.
Yes, one of my favorite books. Yeah.
Great book, and I think when someone reads that book, it changes their entire mindset around the value of pricing in the marketing bucket.
Yep.
And that's when they really go like, wow, there's a big opportunity
It's
here
a
that our
huge lever.
competitors aren't even thinking about.
Yeah, it's a huge lever you can pull for sure.
When it comes to marketing, you got all these franchisees, you want them to be successful. And when you compare it to your franchise to other franchises, your average revenue per studio is actually up there.
Mm-hmm.
So your franchise is doing well. Obviously, they can't do that without good marketing. What are some principles that you really want your franchisees to take and understand when making decisions on marketing? And that includes how much are we spending, who are we spending it with, what are we choosing, how to know when to spend more. What are some principles around some of these things?
Yeah, very insightful question. I just made a LinkedIn post on this around, I don't know if it's posted yet, but so we're filming this, interest rates have gone up some, the economy feels fine, but everyone's saying it's wobbly. I think the pundits and people on TV are making more of it than it is. But I made a post where, this is the time where you double down on your advertising. You spend more on your advertising because there's less people. The first thing people cut, the first thing most novice business owners, actually Fortune 500 companies cut is They're advertising because they can't see a real correlation between it. But that's changed with digital advertising. Advertising on TV is branding. That's branding. And you need a big budget to do branding because you're not going to really see a payoff for that for a long time. That's Coca-Cola, Budweiser money. Direct response advertising like we do in fitness, where we're going to run paid traffic, get an actual lead from that paid traffic, so we can say, hey, I spent X dollars and I got X amount of leads. I spent this and I got that. To me, then it just becomes a math equation. Right. I need to book 65%, I need to get 50% to show, I need to close 50%, and I make money. My cost of acquisition is much, much lower, so I make money every time I acquire a customer. And I don't make money on lifetime value, I make money on the first ring, right? That's a good marketing program. So, what I share with our franchisees, and I would share with all your followers, is that especially in a time where people cut their budgets, advertising is like anything else. There is a finite amount of it, which means that, let's just use Zuckerberg for an example, Facebook. He only has so many spots in those Instagram feeds, only so many spots in the Facebook news feed that he can sell. But when less people are buying them, he is going to sell that space for a lower cost because the demand isn't there. And it's Keynesian economics. Advertising is the higher the demand, the higher the price he can charge, because there's only so much supply. So when people spend less on and they cut their advertising budgets, to me, that's the time I want to double down, because I'm going to get 50% more for my spend, maybe 100% more for my spend, and the consumer, the end consumer, the prospect, isn't seeing as many of my competitors' ads. So my ad now will stick out more. Of course, it has to have the right creative, the right offer, the right copy, which we use ChatGPT for now.
Yep.
But I think that so many people, when anything gets uncertain, even if business is going well and they're listening to all the talking heads on TV, they will make a premature decision to slash one of the most important budgets they have, which is their promotional budget. That's how you grow a business. That's how you feed a business. Right. A business is not a machine. You can't set it and forget it. You have to feed it. It needs fuel, which is new revenue, customers. And the fastest way I know to do that is through paid advertising.
Right. There's a quote, and can't remember who said it, but it was like, stopping your advertising to save money is like stopping your watch to save time.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Now, the cool thing is, I don't know if you've noticed this. I don't think many people have. So what you probably notice, you for sure notice, is that since 2017, ad costs have started going up, right? Sure. The cost of exposure, because of what you just said, supply demand. Have you noticed that this last year, ad costs have kind of leveled out and sometimes even dropped?
100%.
Do you know why? Because more people are on it now. More people are advertising now. So if you go and look, it used to be every 5 posts was an ad. Now it's every 2 to 3.
You're right. Actually, I have noticed that. Yeah.
So the inventory is higher.
Yeah.
So they increase inventory in order to be able to,
satiate that demand. Yeah.
Right. So I don't think a lot of people notice that, but if you go on now, which is great, right?
Yeah.
The fact that a lot of people haven't noticed it means it's an effective switch. Just can't do it again, right? Like if it was other,
it's too much, right? It's too much. Yeah.
It's got to be a balance.
They'll go to a different platform. So we've also, I'm sure you're doing it too. I've just seen greater results with like Facebook lead ads where you keep them on the platform. I think you get rewarded for that, where we always used to take them to a landing page. We still do that sometimes, but I think that they've gotten smarter about keeping people on their platform as well. So
it's funny when you think about, though, we just go through information faster, but if it's every 3 posts, that's technically like every 10 minutes there's a commercial.
Yeah.
For about 3 minutes. It's about a third of your time spent is that. So it's about there.
Parity, yeah.
Just everything's scaled down to 3 seconds.
Yep. But I think that the fact that it is every 2 to 3 posts, that shows that the creative, the visual, the hook has to be on point, because the consumer is so deconditioned. And I have a 22-year-old daughter and 19-year-old son, and I don't even know how they see it because they're going so fast through it, but they're absorbing it,
Yeah.
But that you have to be able to do that pattern interrupt to stop people's scroll, because it's a lightning speed now.
So, you're looking at hundreds of ads a day, and everything. Like in this room, I'm probably looking at 3 ads, right? Your shirt's an ad. That supplement right there is an ad. The Canon can't, like, if there's a logo on it,
Sure.
there's a reason the logo's on it.
Yeah.
You don't need to put the logo.
Yeah.
Why do we put the logo? Because I need to advertise. I need to get the branding in, right?
Yep.
You keep seeing it. But if you ask the average person, what ads have you seen today? They're not even they're gonna remember maybe one if it was a good one. So it's very, very hard. A lot of people think advertising is easy. It's very hard. If I were to say, hey, I want you to give me 3 really great commercials that you've seen in the last month, you'd probably name the same few that if I got 50 people in a room, there'd be some common denominators in there. That's how hard it is to create one.
For sure.
And a lot of people want to delegate that. I think a big challenge, and that's why I really like that you like marketing. I think a big challenge that a lot of people have in this industry and a lot of small businesses is they hire a marketing company or a lead gen company, worse, not really a marketing company. They hire a lead gen company to run their marketing for them, which includes the creation of the advertisement and the execution of those ads. When in reality, you should go like, look, I've already got the ads. I got the idea. It's already done. I just need you to get these ads out to the right demographic. That's really what I need you to do. But when CEOs like you are really going like, okay, we really got to think of the market. Like the ad that you created to get people to your conference was great.
Oh, thank you.
That was an ad. That was great. That was a great ad. And when you do something like that, for the last few years, I've not been involved in the advertising for Loud Rumor, and we were paying a pretty high dollar for demos, and we started doing these attorney ads.
Yeah, I love those.
Some people may or may not have seen them on here. And we dropped it down. My goal is to get it to $250 per demo, and we got it down to like $118, $119 right now.
Wow.
We were getting maybe like a couple demos a day, and now we're getting like sometimes 8, 9 a day.
Wow.
And we're getting comments on it in the sales process. Ooh, attorney ad was great. Attorney ad was great. And I wish more people like really aimed for that in the gym space. If more people can go, how do I get it so that when a prospect comes in our doors, they go, oh, your ads are so funny. They're great. How much easier would it be, right?
So I am nonstop thinking about a conversation that you and I had where you said you need to create a character.
Yeah.
And which you have with the attorney, right?
Well, wait till you see what we got coming up next month.
I can't wait. I can't wait. And so I've literally been racking my brain for several months now around what can that be? What should it be? And now I'm hyper aware of the insurance ads. Because if you think about the most bland product, Progressive, the EMU for whatever, Liberty Mutual, right?
You know how boring insurance is in real life?
There's nothing to differentiate, right? Nothing. So you have to. They've the Gecko Lizard. They've done that because who cares about insurance? And it's something you don't see. You pay once a year. You don't think about. So they have to be really creative to separate. And I think that is an industry that, as marketers, we can all lean into and look toward as best in class, and I think you're starting to do that with your advertising, and I am chasing that because I believe that is the future too.
Right. Yeah. And when you think about like, this is how bad, how hard insurance is to advertise for compared to gym space, right? I want you to think of a time where you might have met somebody that's really fit. You probably already are thinking, what question is going to ask this person? Like, what do you eat? Yeah, well, what's your workout plan look like? That's normal, which means I'm asking buying questions. Imagine you met somebody that sells insurance. What are you hoping not comes up in the conversation? Please don't.
Exactly.
Ask me what I'm using, right? Because I don't want to even talk about this, right? And I've had people call me, on LinkedIn, you get hit up all the time. Hey, we would like to show you how we can save your money on insurance. And I don't even know. They're probably right. They probably can. And my response, is always similar. It's just not a problem I'm looking to solve right now.
Good answer. Yeah.
Right? It's just not a problem I'm looking to solve. It's not my agenda. But for us, name one person right now that wouldn't want to be in better shape. Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime would have taken 1 more pound of muscle, 1% less body fat. 100%. Right? So everybody here would rather be in better shape. And think about the visuals of fitness and how fun it actually is. Yeah. Compared to insurance. But how do we make something like that fun? And you got my favorite Progressive ads right now are the ones like, although we can't stop you from becoming your parents.
Yeah.
We can't. Yeah. And it's funny, it has nothing to do with insurance.
You're right.
Zero things.
But we watch.
Yeah. And a lot of people might say, and I've been guilty of this in the past, earlier on in my marketing days, I've never made a decision off of a commercial like that. I've never said, oh, I'm going to call them. You're right, but here's what happens. One day you need new insurance. One day it's going to happen. You may switch insurances, right? You're going to go to Google and you're going to type in car insurance or whatever it is. And you're going to have 3 options pop up. 2 of them you never heard of, and 1 of them is Progressive.
Yep.
Who's winning
Click.
that tug?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so same thing with RockBox. If RockBox is really standing out, like you guys are really working hard, you're standing out. And now I go, you know what? I think I do want to get more into fitness. Let me type in gyms near me. And then it's Joe's Fitness, Jimmy's Boxing, and then RockBox.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, what is this again? I've
Yep.
been seeing these guys. And that's the idea. You're planting seeds in a way that's memorable,
Mm-hmm.
so that when you need to be remembered, it's done.
It's done. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Omnipresence, where, I think B2B events, where let's say you go to a juice shop or something and set up your table, with RockBox tablecloth on a table and different tchotchkes there or whatever. People see that. They're probably not going to buy a membership at that table. I mean, the chances are almost zero. You may get their lead information, which is great. Then they're going to go across town and they'll see, maybe we've got a display somewhere, or they drive by, we've got an A-frame out of the outside on the sidewalk. They're not going to walk in maybe that time. But as you said, then they're going to see an ad, and then they're going to see an ad again and again, and then they're finally going to click on that ad because they think, we appear bigger than we are. And that's the goal of any independently small, every franchise is a small business. Every franchise is independently owned and operated, and it's a small business. And they need to operate. Any franchisee who's watching this, any independent gym owner who's watching this, needs to operate in a manner that is bigger than they really are. So when that consumer looks for it, you're there. You're
Right.
there. And I think that you have to play bigger, to use a boxing term, fight a couple weight classes above your weight, just so that when people are looking for you, they know, I know that brand. I've seen that brand.
Right.
I trust that
100%.
brand.
You know what I'd love to do is, because I want to dig in on this, I want to show the aviation gin commercial, the one with Ryan Reynolds, where he's actually making the gin bottle. Let's go ahead and show that real quick.
Okay.
Tequila's great, really, and there's no truth to the rumor that tequila causes baldness. To celebrate the opening of Red Notice, I recommend a gin drink. Just a good old-fashioned gin drink. Gin is the drink of intrigue, originality, and virility. It sneaks up on you, so I call this drink the misdirect. You'll never see it coming. Anyway, here are the ingredients. First, combine 1.5 ounces of delicious Aviation American gin with 1.5 ounces of vermouth and 1.5 ounces of Campari. Shake well and pour into ice-filled chilled glass. And garnish with an orange peel. Anyway, who needs all those muscles when you can have this, the misdirect? Ooh. Did not see that coming.
So the thing that I loved about that particular ad, and Ryan Reynolds, I don't know if you even paid
Oh
attention
yeah,
to
yeah.
Ryan
You see,
Reynolds.
they get a $600 million exit for that, as I've heard.
He's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't know gins. If I'm at a restaurant though, and I ask this question often, what's your guys' drink here? What's the drink? If somebody were to say, oh, it's our gin and whatever, I would say, okay, what gin do you recommend? Like, well, we've got Aviator gin, we've got this. That's it.
Yep.
I don't. That's it. I already want it, because if you look at the commercial, what it says, it's ranked as the #1 gin by one of the most prestige. I don't even know what that is. Who even knows
Sure.
what that is? Sounds prestige.
Sure.
I assumed it was. Honestly, Roger, it could be a hole in the wall guy just stamping it
Sure.
with the best gin. I have no idea, but it sounded so legit that that's all I remember. And I got to taste what the best gin tastes
Yep.
like. And here's the thing, I wouldn't know if it was the worst gin,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I just want to taste it.
Yep.
But that's what marketing is.
Yep. 100%.
All right. Last thing, because we're going to have to head out of here. I got to catch a flight to Atlanta
Yeah.
to visit our friend Rick. You've been posting a lot of stuff on leadership lately, and it makes all the sense why. Because you are a fantastic leader. I see it with your people say it about you. Your franchisees say it about you, which is something, because I'll tell you, not all franchisees are too fond of the franchisor.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
But in your world, they very much are. And I guess if let's say I came to you, and let's say I'm not Mike Garcia, I'm just a regular guy that is aspiring to be a good leader one day. What's 1 or 2 things you can leave me with? And maybe even a book recommendation. Like, man, if you could really work on these couple things here and read this book, I think you'll get a great head start.
Good question. So I think that leadership is, if you're in business, if you're in a family, if you're in school, it really doesn't matter. The world needs more leaders. You don't have to look that far to see that we need better leaders. We need more leaders. I think in the second half of my, really this last 5-10 years of my career, I've really embraced not only leadership, but leading younger talent and young men and women who want to learn and want to get better and want to improve. And I can't pour enough into them, because it just, I guess maybe I see myself in them, but to me, the world needs more leadership, just flat out. So it's kind of my soapbox lately, and I'm waving that flag as high and loud as I can. So, you know, two things come to mind, and I'll give you a book recommendation or a couple, but two things come to mind. One is, you have to, not I think, you have to be genuine and authentic in how you're leading. That doesn't mean that you have to be this perfect leader. That doesn't mean you have to say the right thing at the exact right time. You have to be genuine and authentic, which means that if you make a mistake, you tell your entire crew, 5 people or 50 people or 500 people, hey man, I made a mistake. When we should have gone left, I turned right, and I own that. But here's what we're going to do to course correct. And I need your help on this. I need it today. They see that humility as, okay, he's leading us, or she's leading us, whomever, but they're also they're a human being. And there's an authenticity to them that is genuine. And I think that, you know, in the 80s and 90s, this picture of a perfectly pressed shirt and tie and suit, and you know, and that was the leader, and that's what you needed to be, and walk with this stoicism. To me, that's not effective. That doesn't get people to move to action, and it doesn't inspire them. So one, I would say you have to be authentic, and that's just being who you are.
Here's the cool thing: you're also leading them to take accountability for their own mistakes, which
sure.
are actually leading them to be leaders in the right way as well.
For sure. We have a saying around here that it's okay to fail, just fail fast. You can fail, just fail fast, and then let's move on and let's learn from that. The second thing is, and I've really gotten better at this lately. I don't know what spurred me to do this, but I was super guilty. I think I said this from the stage at your last conference. Is, you know, somebody would come to my office, and we're a very fast-paced organization here at RockBox, and I'd be typing or sending an email or something, and somebody would come in, and I'd be like, yeah. And I couldn't help myself, because I had a task I needed to complete, but they needed my time. They came in to ask their leader for help. And I've just been very purposeful around, somebody walks in, I literally take my monitor and I turn it, and I slide my laptop over to the side, and I turn my chair, and I'm fully present with them. And, you know, I think parenthood teaches you that some too. And I've tried very, very hard in my life to be present and give my kids my full attention when they needed it. But I didn't always do that at work. And they're still human beings, and they want your full attention. When they come in, they want your full attention, and they deserve your full attention. They're giving you such great effort and such hard work and their best efforts. They deserve that attention. So I would say those two things. One, you have to lead authentically with humility. You have to make the tough decisions when you need to. Like that, that hasn't changed from 10,000 years ago. But I think today, especially this generation, they want more authenticity in their leadership, and not this stoicism that I think was projected for so many decades. And then, you know, just give them your full attention.
Yeah.
Books, I've ran the gamut, everything from, you know, Jack Welch's stuff back in the 80s and 90s, right, to Simon Sinek today, which I love. But I have many book recommendations, but I would tell you that where I've gotten the most value is reading biographies of successful people. So Bob Iger of Disney, Michael Dell's biography was unreal.
Really?
I
haven't read that one.
Oh my gosh! And there's a reason he's so successful. You know, Jeff Bezos. It wasn't a biography, but it was very close to. But it was written by somebody.
Bezos letters?
No, I need to read that. It was Unbound, I think it's called. It's the story from 2007 to COVID, and how Amazon grew. And one of the things that he says that we champion here at RockBox as well is, it's always day one at Amazon. Meaning, if this were the first day we launched this company, what would we do? And so many companies get so set in their ways, and why you do this? Well, that's the way we've always done it. Or I don't even know why we do it this way. Where he would challenge it every single, he is a great leader, and he would challenge every single day. Okay, if this were day one, would we make that same decision? Well, maybe not. Well, we've sunk 30 million in this project. That doesn't matter. That's a sunk cost.
Yeah.
It's a sunk cost. What would we do if this were day one? And I think if you go into every day at work and think, okay, am I doing the right thing here? This is day one. Is this the absolute best use of my time if this were day one and we're building this company? Because we can get into habits, and habits exist to make our life easier and make our brain not work so hard, but it doesn't help us grow. It doesn't make us better.
Yeah, bad habits.
Bad habits, yeah. And so, there's 1,000 books on leadership. Honestly, a lot of them are very, very similar when you break it down, but just the reminders, I think, help. But I've found more joy, and I've found, story. We love story. And a biography, a well-written biography, Steve Jobs' biography, Elon Musk's biography.
Steve Jobs is my favorite one.
Oh, it's unreal. And you leave those books a changed person because you were in the story. You weren't reading, and I've gone from those books to, more of a consultant will write a book, after they've interviewed 15 CEOs, and that reads like a textbook, and there's gems in there, but you don't remember what you read 2 months later. Stories stick. And biographies that are well written from people who've accomplished amazing things in their life, and you go back and you peel it back, you realize, well, no wonder they're who they are, because look what they did, look what they sacrificed, look how authentic of a leader they are, look where they admitted they made a mistake and had to course correct, look where they almost lost it all, had the tenacity to build it back up. And you see that, and then when you play it back through your own life, you go, okay, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay.
Because the thing is, if a book tells you it's important for you to be authentic and take accountability, it's hard to see it in how you would do it. Never mind remember it when you need it. But if you were not to be told to take accountability, you just heard Michael Dell, or you saw in the story that what he did was take accountability without even thinking of the word accountability. Yeah. You're just seeing the behavior and the outcome, and you're going, that could be more like that. Yeah. Without attaching a word or label to it, like accountability.
If I can end with one thing, because I do know you have to go. I could talk to you all day, by the way. But my business partner, Jeff Duden, who's part of RockBox, he very early on in our partnership said, well, we have to get our values right. And he was so adamant about getting our values right. Important. And he said that, if you have your values right, business is pretty easy. It's making decisions based on your values. Yep. The consequences may be really hard, really hard. And I'll give you a real quick example that, when COVID hit, we closed our studios nationwide and told our franchisees to close before the government told us to close. A few days before, and then the whole world fell apart and everybody closed anyway. But the decision to close was pretty easy. Hey, one of our core values is trust. Like, trust is a value. Our members are trusting us to do the right thing. Nobody knows what the hell this COVID thing is, how bad it really is, what's going on. They're trusting us to do the right thing. We need to stop and figure this out. Like, we need to stop. And the consequence wasn't fun. Closing your studios wasn't fun, but the decision was easy. Right. And I'm fast forward, 6 months ago, I'm reading Bob Iger's biography. He was the past CEO of Disney. Now he's the current CEO. They brought him back. A horrible story, but in one of the swamps, an alligator grabbed a child, took a child's life, and he had to call the parents he was in China or somewhere, but had to call the parents, and he said, I want to talk to the parents directly. And they closed down like that entire part of the resort, the park, brought in God knows how many people to sweep for all of the alligators and to find the child and do all that. But it was at a tremendous expense to Disney, and he said, it doesn't matter. This is what we stand for. This is supposed to be the safest, happiest place on earth, and we're going to make it. We're going to, it wasn't for a moment. We're going to recreate the safest, happiest place on earth at a tremendous expense and turmoil for all the crew, and work 72 hours straight. But these are our values, so pretty easy decision.
Yeah, awesome. Well, the coolest thing about what you just said to close out is if you haven't noticed, the reason Roger and people like Roger are so successful, he's done successful things, he's been successful, he's done really good things, built really good businesses, and he's still reading, he's still learning. So if you're at Roger's level, you probably are too. If you're ahead of Roger's level, you probably read more. And if you're not at Roger's level and you're not reading, I don't know what you are doing, but your goals better be aligned with it. So Roger, thanks so much,
Oh
man.
my
I
gosh.
appreciate you being on the show finally.
Thank you.
But it won't be the last time.
Thank you.
For everybody else, thank you so much, and we will see you next week.